How a single line of journaling before bed can shift the frequency of your life 180 degrees. The final habit before sleep that 99% of people do not know about. Please listen carefully. The belief you have carried until now that changing your life requires enormous effort ends quietly, right here, today. The power to fundamentally change the flow of your life does not lie within sweat-soaked struggle. It is hidden inside the few dozen seconds just before you fall asleep each night. To put it more concretely, from the moment you slip under the covers until the moment you close your eyes, you write a single line. That is all. This is not a comforting bit of mental philosophy. The universe operates by clear laws. The frequency you release just before falling asleep is carved deep into your soul over the hours of that night. This is not optional. It is the unavoidable mechanism of human consciousness. In other words, what words you place into your awareness last tonight will determine your frequency tomorrow, and the accumulation of those nights will shape who you are 6 months from now, 1 year from now, your entire life. Think about it. How have you been spending the time before sleep until today? Many people release that precious time, defenseless, still wrapped in anxiety, regret, and the heavy weight of tomorrow. It is as if, at the end of each day, you are flipping the switch of your own frequency toward the dark side, and then drifting off to sleep. But you, having encountered this video today, are no longer the same. From tonight, you can transform those few dozen seconds before sleep into the most sacred time of your life, the time that decides the direction of everything. What I am about to share with you is the truth of vibration that Tesla once gazed upon. The reason a single line of journaling before bed can flip the frequency of your life by 180 degrees, the mechanism behind it, and the complete guide to how to actually write that one line. Please, slowly, listen all the way to the end. Chapter 1. Why the few dozen seconds before sleep determine who you will be tomorrow. First, let me share a fact that most people overlook. It is this. The time of day when your frequency is most deeply rewritten is the moment just before you fall asleep. During the day, your consciousness is surrounded by countless pieces of information, by interactions with others, by things you must do. Your mind is constantly thinking about several things at once, moving busily without rest. In this state, new frequencies cannot reach the deeper layers. They bounce off the surface. But the moment just before sleep is completely different. Your brain waves shift gently from the fast waves of waking life into the slow waves of drowsiness. This is the threshold state, exactly between waking and sleeping. Here, the gatekeeper of your conscious mind finishes its duty and quietly falls asleep. When the gatekeeper sleeps, the door to your subconscious is left open, defenseless. The words and emotions placed into your awareness during those few dozen seconds while that door is open pass through almost without resistance. They sink straight into the deepest places of your soul. And here is where the wonder of the universe begins. While you sleep, your consciousness appears to have stopped its activity, but in truth, it is taking the final frequency it received, and over many hours, again and again, settling it deeply into who you are. It is like a craftsman who lays down a lacquered bowl to rest overnight, allowing the color to sink deeply into the wood. Your soul, too, uses the hours of sleep to take the final frequency it received and finish it into something certain. In other words, the frequency you release just before sleep is amplified many times over during the night, and quietly set as the default state of your tomorrow morning, the mood you feel the very moment you wake up. Whether today feels heavy and reluctant, or whether something tells you today might just be all right. That is not a coincidence. It is the precise result of what you placed into your awareness last night, just before sleep. This is where you can see why so many people lose ground in life, night after night. Most people spend the time before sleep wrapped in anxiety, in worry, in the regret of another day gone wrong. And carrying that heavy frequency, they pour it directly into the subconscious whose door has just opened. It is the same as painting another layer of heavy color over your soul, every single night. But this, when seen from the other side, is the greatest possible hope. Because you can use this very same mechanism, starting tonight, in the opposite direction. In those few dozen seconds before sleep, deliberately choose a warm and bright frequency and place it there. With just that one act, you can paint a layer of light over your soul night after night. And the method that delivers that frequency of light to your awareness most reliably, most simply. That method is the habit of writing a single line of journaling. In the next chapter, I will share with you the deep reason why merely thinking these things in your head is not enough. Why the act of writing one line is essential. Chapter 2. The cosmic power held within the act of writing, a power that thought alone cannot reach. In the previous chapter, I told you that the frequency you carry into sleep is carved into your soul during the night. A question may arise here. If that is true, would it not be enough to simply imagine something good in your head, without bothering to write it down? But here lies an important truth that most people do not know. The strength of frequency released into the universe is completely different between thought in the mind and words written on paper. Thought in the mind is an extremely fleeting thing. You think of one thing, and in the very next moment another arises, and the next, and the next. Thoughts are like leaves floating on the surface of a river, continuously drifting away. They hold no form, settle nowhere, and cannot be grasped. A frequency without form is a signal that is difficult for the universe to receive. Vague signals can only return vague realities. But the act of writing words onto paper is something entirely different. The act of writing takes the formless thoughts inside you and anchors them to this world as words with a definite shape. It is the act of crystallizing the fog of vague longing into a single, clear droplet of water. Your hand moves. You hold the pen. You form the letters. In that moment, your body, your awareness, and your emotions all gather in a single direction. Think about it. The act of writing involves the movement of your fingertips, the sensation of your eyes following the letters, the thought of choosing each word, and the emotion poured into those words. All of these are present at once. It is like the moment when several instruments, each sounding in its own direction, are brought together under one conductor and resolve into a single chord. Scattered sounds are just noise. But sounds aligned in the same direction become a powerful resonance that shakes the very space around them. The act of writing is a tuning process. It aligns every string of the instrument that is you into the single note of one wish. And once that frequency is aligned, it is no longer a vague signal. It becomes a clear, single tone that reaches the universe with precision. Furthermore, the words you have written hold one more power. It is the fact that you, with your own eyes, have certainly seen them. Thoughts in the mind can later be doubted, even by you. You may wonder, did I really think that? But a single line written on paper can no longer be doubted. You wrote it and you saw it. The subconscious records that experience as undeniable fact. The subconscious makes no distinction between reality and imagination. The one line you wrote, saw, and felt is received by your subconscious as a reality that has already occurred. This is precisely why you must not merely think. You must write. A single line is enough. But that one line written by your own hand, etched into this world, that is the method that delivers the frequency of your wish to the universe most strongly, most precisely. In the next chapter, I will speak honestly about the actions that many people unknowingly take before sleep. Actions that lower the frequency of the night. Chapter 3. The actions that 99% of people take before sleep, which lower their frequency. From here, I will speak about the actions that most people unconsciously take every night. Actions that significantly lower the frequency of their sleep. If any of these apply to you, please do not blame yourself. You simply did not know. From the moment you know, starting now, everything can change. First, continuing to look at your smartphone while in bed. This is a habit nearly everyone living in modern times falls into. Just before sleep, when the door of your most defenseless awareness has begun to open, countless frequencies of other people flow in through the screen of your smartphone. Someone's anger, someone's anxiety, someone's boasting. Comparisons with strangers you do not know. All of it is poured at once into the most delicate moment of your soul. And carrying that chaotic mixture of frequencies as the final impression, you drift into sleep. Throughout the night, what is then etched into your soul is not your own wish, but the color of someone else's anxiety. Second, replaying the failures of the day or unpleasant events over and over in your mind. The space inside your covers has a strange quality. It tends to summon only the things that did not go well that day. I should not have said that. Why did I do that? If you fall asleep carrying that frequency of regret, your subconscious mistakes that regret for an emotion you cherish. And it begins, faithfully, to search for events that will let you feel that same regret again tomorrow. Third, counting up your worries about tomorrow and all the things you still have to do. Tomorrow I must do this, and that is still unfinished, and I have to contact that person. When such thoughts begin before sleep, your frequency becomes fixed in a state of hurry and obligation. If you fall asleep in that state, the next morning you will begin the day already feeling chased, even though nothing has yet begun. Fourth, and this is the action most people overlook. Falling asleep with no intention at all, simply drifting off in a hazy state. You may think that since you are not thinking about anything bad, there is no problem. But here lies the trap. If you do not intentionally place a frequency of light into your awareness before sleep, then that empty seat is automatically taken by the strongest emotion of the day. And for most people living in modern times, the strongest emotion of the day, unfortunately, is not joy. More often, it is exhaustion, or anxiety, or hurry. In other words, doing nothing is not neutral. It is the act of surrendering your night to the heaviest frequency of the day. After hearing all this, you may be thinking, I have been doing all of these. But please, truly, it is all right. There is something easier and far more certain than trying to stop these actions one by one. It is the new habit of writing a single line of light before sleep. That single new habit gently overwrites the old ones. There is no need to fight against anything to stop it. You only need to place one new, warm habit into your night. That alone is enough. Your nights will, quietly and surely, begin to change. In the next chapter, I will finally share with you how to write that one line. The concrete method, step by step. Chapter 4. The correct way to write the one-line journal that changes the frequency of your life. From here, we move into practice. How do you actually write that single line of journaling before sleep? Let me share the concrete steps, gently, one by one. There is nothing difficult about it. What you need is a small notebook, one pen, and just 1 minute before sleep. First, about preparation. Please use a paper notebook, not the notes function on your smartphone. There is a reason for this. As I shared in the previous chapter, the bodily act of moving your hand and forming the letters is itself the tuning that aligns your frequency. Sliding your finger across a screen has a completely different strength when it reaches the universe. Keep the notebook beside your pillow, a place you can reach without leaving the bed. This is important. Next, about the timing of when to write. Brush your teeth. Dim the lights a little. Reach the state where there is truly nothing left to do but sleep. Then, and only then, open the notebook. Turn off the television, set the smartphone far away, and let the only thing remaining be the closing of your eyes. At that final stage, open the notebook. Why this matters? If you do something else after writing, the frequency of that other action will overwrite the one line you just wrote. Write the line and then, carrying those words gently in your chest, drift into sleep. This order matters very much. And now, finally, what to write. You write just one line. There is no need to write at length. In fact, you must not write at length. By focusing on one line alone, your frequency concentrates to a single point. That one line should take one of 3 forms. Choose whichever fits the mood of your day. The first form is the one line of gratitude. Recall one small good thing that happened today and add a word of thanks to it. For example, I am grateful that I was able to slowly drink a warm cup of tea today. It can be anything, no matter how small. In fact, the smaller, the better. The frequency that notices small good things is the very same frequency that receives abundance from the universe. The second form is the one line written as if it has already come true. Write your wish not as something yet to come, but as something already accomplished. For example, instead of writing, I hope my financial worries disappear, write, I live within the security of being protected by abundance. The subconscious makes no distinction in time. The line you write in completed form is received by your subconscious as a reality that has already occurred, and it begins to draw events matching that reality toward you. The third form is the one line of kindness toward yourself. On nights when you feel things did not go well, you do not need to force yourself to write bright words. On such nights, simply offer yourself a gentle word of recognition. For example, today, I held on through another day. That, in itself, is enough. This line of self-kindness gently lifts the lowered frequency without scolding it. From these 3 forms, choose the one that feels most right for you tonight. You do not need to write all 3. A single line, just one, is enough. And once you have finished writing, please do one last important thing. Without needing to say it aloud, read the line you wrote once more, slowly, in your heart. And then, for just 3 seconds, allow a warm sensation to gather in your chest. As if those words were already true, the moment emotion enters the word, the frequency is complete. After that, all you need to do is hold that warmth, close the notebook, and close your eyes. That is all. The whole thing takes less than 1 minute. But this 1 minute will change your night, change tomorrow morning, and in time, change the very frequency of your life. Chapter 5. Ready to use one-line phrases, sorted by the type of wish. In the previous chapter, I shared that there are 3 forms of the one-line journal. In this chapter, I will go further and offer you ready-to-use phrases sorted by the type of wish in your heart tonight. Choose the one that comes closest to where your heart is tonight and copy it into your notebook. First, for those who hold a wish related to money or abundance, try writing this. What I need always flows to me gently at the time I need it. When carrying anxiety about money, people unknowingly release the frequency of lack. But the frequency of lack draws the reality of lack. That is why, during the night, you etch into your soul the completed frequency of it is already flowing. Next, for those who feel weary in their relationships, try writing this. The people who treasure me are naturally gathering around me. On nights filled with relationship troubles, your mind will tend to replay the people who hurt you. But the frequency of those people, replayed at night, lingers in your awareness tomorrow as well. So at night, turn your frequency away from the unpleasant person and toward those who truly cherish you. Next, for those who cannot, no matter how hard they try, learn to like themselves, try writing this. I am just as I am right now, already a being of full and complete worth. The frequency of self-loathing is very heavy and tends to grow strongest at night. On such nights, there is no need to try to change. Simply write one line that, for now, fully accepts who you are. A soul that feels accepted relaxes and naturally begins to move toward a better direction on its own. Next, for those wrapped in a vague kind of unease, try writing this. I am held within a great current, and everything is moving in a good direction. The reason anxiety feels anxious is precisely that its true form cannot be seen. So against that invisible anxiety, gently respond with one line that says, I am held by an invisible, greater power. And finally, for those with no particularly strong wish, who simply want to live each day with quiet calm, try writing this. Today, I came to the end of another day safely. Tomorrow, too, will be a peaceful day. This is the quietest line, and yet the strongest. Without wishing for anything grand, you etch into your soul, night after night, the steady continuation of peaceful days. The accumulation of this, without your noticing, builds within you an unshakable foundation of stability for your life. You may use these words exactly as they are, or you may rewrite them in your own words. Either is fine. What matters is that, in the moment you write that line, your chest feels even just a little warmer. That warmth is the true signal of a frequency that reaches the universe. Chapter 6. The changes that come to you when you continue the one-line journal for 21 days. So far, I've shared with you how to write the one-line journal and the specific phrases you can use. In this chapter, I will speak about what actually begins to happen inside you when you keep this practice going. The path of that change. First, please know this. The change begins, quietly but surely, from the very first night. The first day. The first night you write a single line and fall asleep. During that night, just one drop of new light frequency is etched into your soul. The next morning, you may not feel a dramatic shift, and that is all right. When you plant a seed, the lack of a sprout the next day does not mean the seed has stopped growing. Beneath the soil, invisible change has already begun. The first week. During this time, you grow accustomed to the habit of writing. There may be nights when you forget and fall asleep without writing. Even then, please do not blame yourself. When you notice, simply begin again the next night. There is no need at all to be perfect. What the universe sees is not your perfection, but your direction. The very fact that you are trying, even just a little, to choose the side of light is what the universe responds to. As you enter the second week, you begin to notice a small change. It is the feeling when you wake up in the morning. The heavy, reluctant waking of before begins, little by little, to feel lighter. Not dramatically, but something definitely is lighter. That is the first sign, and one more. During the day, in unexpected moments, you notice that you are noticing good things more easily. The blueness of the sky, the kindness of someone, things you used to walk past suddenly catch your eye. That is proof that your frequency is, little by little, being tuned toward the side that receives abundance. By the third week, around the 21st day, you reach a turning point. It is said that for the human mind to fully settle a new habit at the level of the soul takes exactly 21 days. Around the 21st day, you will realize something. Writing the one line is no longer effort. Like brushing your teeth, it has become a completely natural part of your night. And by this time, the very events occurring around you begin to take on a different shade than before. A needed message arrives at just the right moment. A road you chose almost without thinking brings a good encounter. Something you had worried about for a long time suddenly comes undone, lightly. These pleasant coincidences begin, little by little, to increase. This is what happens when your frequency has changed. The very reality you resonate with has shifted. The outer world has not suddenly transformed. What changed is your frequency. And when frequency changes, the reality you receive changes its very form, as if becoming a different dimension altogether. This is not an exaggeration. The accumulation of a single line changes the flow of a life. That is a certain law of the universe. Just as a single drop of water, over long stretches of time, can carve a hole through solid stone. Your nightly one line dissolves your old frequency quietly and rewrites it into the new frequency of light. Chapter 7. The state of mind that lets the one-line journal reach the soul more deeply. In this final chapter, I will share several mindsets that will make this habit of one-line journaling even deeper and even more certain. The first mindset: do not hurry the results. Once you begin writing the one line, you may find yourself searching, thinking, nothing has changed yet. But hidden in the heart of that hurried searching is the frequency of lack, the feeling that what you wished for has not yet come true. That frequency of lack will cancel out the frequency of the very line you just wrote. So after writing, please entrust your wish, gently, to the universe. Just as one does not dig up a planted seed every day to check on it. The line you wrote, you place into the soil of the universe, and you sleep in peace. The very posture of entrusting is the nutrient that grows your wish. The second mindset: do not compare yourself to others. That person has already changed, and I have not. The moment you think this, your frequency drops again. Souls each have their own speed and their own season. Some flowers bloom early, others bloom slowly, but with great strength. You have your own season. The speed of someone else has nothing to do with your speed. You only need to continue your own nightly line at your own pace. The third mindset: do not blame yourself for the nights you could not write. There will, without fail, be nights when you are too exhausted, and you fall asleep before writing. That is all right. Missing one night does not erase the frequency you have built so far. What matters is not continuing without break, but returning. On the night after you missed, gently open the notebook again. That power of returning is what true continuation means. It is not those who continue perfectly every day. It is those who forget many times and return many times. Their frequency is the one that is supple and strong. And now, the final and most important mindset. It is this. When you write that one line, be gentle with yourself. The one-line journal is not training to make yourself better. It is time, at the end of the day, to gently hold yourself in your own arms. Today, again, you lived through another day. Carrying so many things, you nonetheless came this far. Toward that self, you offer one line of warm words, like a gift. That frequency of kindness, during the night, reaches into the very deepest place of your soul. The universe treats you exactly as kindly as you treat yourself. The one line of words you offer to your own soul becomes, in turn, the actual words that the universe returns to you in the form of reality. So please, tonight's one line. Write it as if writing a letter to the most precious person in the world. Because that most precious person is none other than yourself. Closing. Thank you truly for listening to this long talk all the way through today. The fact that you have listened so attentively all the way to this point means that somewhere in your heart, you have been quietly wishing to align your life more gently, more in your own way. To you, I want to say something from the bottom of my heart. Until today, you have truly done so well. The nights when you could not sleep, the nights when your chest was filled with anxiety, the nights when you wished tomorrow would not come. You crossed every one of those nights and made it to this day. That is not something to take for granted. It is something very, very precious. And from now on, you no longer need to fall asleep carrying that heaviness. From tonight, with just one line, you can turn your night toward the side of light. This is not difficult training, nor a special talent. It is simply the act of using 1 minute before sleep, gently, for yourself. That is all. Please, do not hurry. Do not compare yourself to anyone, and at your own pace. Try writing your one line tonight. Just one word even is enough to begin. That small line will change your night, change your morning, and in time, open the door of your very life towards something gentler, richer, and more beautiful than you can imagine. This is certain, because you, at this very moment, having listened to this video all the way through, have already begun, with your own hand, to open the door of a new frequency. The universe is always on your side. It has never, not once, abandoned you. From now on, too, it will gently watch over you, and at the moments you need it, will continue to deliver the light that you need. Please, receive that light, with ease, with trust. Final message. If today's talk resonated with your heart, even a little, I would be truly happy if you would press the like button on this video. That gesture becomes a small declaration to the universe, firmly fixing your frequency toward the side of the future. And on this channel, I will continue to deliver messages from the perspective of the universe, the soul, and frequency, gently helping you to align your life. If you feel you might want to come back again, please subscribe to the channel and let us deepen what we learn together in the next video. Finally, if you wish to send a signal to the universe that you have surely received today's message, I would be glad if you wrote a single line in the comments saying, "I have received it." That one line will firmly etch your frequency for today onto the side of light. Tonight, I sincerely wish that you write the first one line of your life. May infinite light and deep resonance be with your soul. Until we meet again in the next video. Thank you truly for listening all the way to the end.